All right, let's talk about it, man. Let me plug the joint. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Again, is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Now, let me just say this, right, on behalf of women worldwide. Ladies, you have every right to withhold sex. You have every right? It's called sexual autonomy. Guys, you have sexual autonomy too. So let's break this down. Sexual autonomy means someone's prerogative to determine when, with whom, and under what circumstances they engage in sexual activity, to only engage in sexual activity to which they consent. Men also have sexual autonomy, right? But sexual autonomy is normally something that is prevalent with women, right? You typically associate sexual autonomy with a woman's right to consent, which both men and women have that same right. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Now, here's the thing, and I want guys to understand this. When we talk about virtue or being virtuous, right? That's deeper than sex. A lot of people associate virtue with mainly sex, right? Or strictly sex, right? But being virtuous, that can also include someone who doesn't curse, someone who doesn't drink, someone who doesn't smoke, right? Like these things are also things that you might associate with a virtuous person, a person who lives a clean lifestyle, right? A clean lifestyle, right? Is withholding sex really about virtue and manipulation? Now, let me say this real quick, and I want guys to understand this. There are reasons where women might withhold sex or attempt to withhold sex that have nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. See, the problem with some guys is when they deal with some women who attempt to withhold sex because of how the woman looks, right? Not only how she looks visually, like if she's very, very attractive, but also if she dressed very modestly and she comes across like she doesn't live the party girl lifestyle. A lot of guys, when they come into contact with those women, they want to believe that her attempt to withhold sex is because she's virtuous, because they need to believe in the quote unquote good girl. They need to believe that, right? The average guy needs to believe that the quote unquote good girl who is not promiscuous at all, right? They need to believe that those women exist. They need to believe it because these guys, a lot of these guys are hopeless romantics. You know, they believe in love, they believe in, a bunch of shit that women like to believe in, right? A bunch of Disney type shit, right? So they need to believe that these women exist, right? Because they feel like, oh, I can finally fall in love with a woman and give her my all, and she won't want anybody but me, right? So a lot of times when guys encounter, very attractive women who are attempting to withhold sex, how guys cope with that is they'll reason with themselves, she's a good girl, she's different, right? That's why she's not being sexual, because she doesn't get down like that. She's not like the rest of these 304s. She's special. She was raised right. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Now, the reason why I'm talking about this, because I want guys to understand this, right? And I talked about this recently. When someone has an agenda, it usually implies they have a hidden or ulterior motive behind their actions. Understand this. More often than not, I would say 9 times out of 10, when you're dealing with women who attempt to withhold sex, they have an agenda. And it has nothing to do with them being virtuous. It has nothing to do with them looking at sex like it's spiritual and special. No. Now, they'll give you the misleading impression that that's how they view sex, but that's not how they view sex at all. When someone has an agenda, it usually implies they have a hidden or ulterior motive behind their actions. Even when women tell you, I'm not that kind of girl, you have to date me first, or I'm practicing abstinence. The majority of the time, these women, they have an agenda, which is why they're telling you that, right? They need for you to view them a certain way. I need guys to understand this. When women have a hidden agenda, when they want something from you, right? And it's not necessarily sex, or even if sex factors into it, but they want more than sex, in order for women to get the things that they desire beyond the sex that you're trying to get, you have to have a perception of them in order for them to pull it off, right? What I mean by that is this. In order for a woman to successfully get you to deal with her while she withholds the sex, she needs for you to believe what she's trying to sell you, meaning how you view her, her public persona. She needs for you to perceive her a certain way to pull it off, right? So if you're dealing with a woman, as an example, or for instance, she thinks you're cool, but she's not really sexually attracted to you, but she believes that you're the type of guy she might have a good time with. Like you seem like you're a fun guy. You do fun dates. You do entertaining dates, but she's not really sexually attracted to you. Most women are going to be inclined to deal with men that they are not sexually attracted to, but you do fun dates and you're generous with your money and you're cool to hang around, right? You're easy to talk to. They might even like the way you look, but they're not really sexually attracted to you. But because they are attracted to what you could potentially offer them outside of sex, they're going to seek to use your desire for them sexually as leverage to get the things they desire. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Now, let's talk about manipulation. Manipulation is a psychological, in a psychological context, refers to the use of deceptive or underhanded tactics to influence or control others for personal gain or benefit, often at the expense of the other person. Now, both men and women are guilty of manipulating each other. But when it comes to sex, you are literally in a woman's playhouse when it comes to sex. Because women are very skilled and very adept at being able to use a man's sexual desire against them. Women are very good at that. Okay, they're experts at that, right? And I need you guys to understand that. So let's go ahead and break down 5 reasons why women may withhold sex that has nothing to do with virtue, right? Again, what are we talking about? Is withholding sex really about virtue and manipulation? And before I get into these 5 reasons, I want guys to understand something. When you're out here and you're dealing with these women, you need not be concerned with this. Never adopt a woman's views on sex. Women have a right to view sex how they view sex, but you need to ignore it. And some women, well, a lot of women aren't gonna like the fact that I'm saying that. No, you need to ignore a woman's view or position on sex if it doesn't align with yours. Meaning, if I indulge in casual sex, but a woman acts like casual sex is disgusting, why the fuck am I even talking to her? Right? And there are guys who will pretend to share that philosophy on casual sex. You right, girl. Right? And they're doing that. Why? Because they are pretending to adopt a woman's views on sex so they can get to sex. Right? 5 reasons women may withhold sex that has nothing to do with virtue. Lack of desire or attraction. Right? That's the number one reason why a woman is gonna withhold sex. It's because she doesn't desire you sexually. And she's not attracted to you sexually. Now, unfortunately for a lot of you guys, you're gonna deal with women where they don't desire you sexually. There's no sexual attraction, but they're gonna give you the impression that there is attraction there. Right? How? They're gonna give you the impression that they are virtuous. They're going to give you the impression that sex to them is somehow meaningful and special, and that you have to have this profound emotional bond or connection with them first, which is not true, right? Again, these five reasons these five reasons women may withhold sex have nothing to do with you, except for one of them. Except for one of them. One of them may have something to do with you, right? Five reasons women may withhold sex that have nothing to do with virtue, right? Again, a lack of sexual desire or attraction. She don't want to fuck you. Now, here's the thing. The women who reject you quickly, who reject you right away, none of them want to have sex with you. None of them do. You need to thank the Lord, right? Or whatever higher power you believe in. When women reject you quickly, you need to thank the Lord for those women. Why? Because not only do those women not want you sexually, but they have no desire to manipulate you. They don't want your time, your dick, your money, your date, your attention, your validation, your compliments. They don't want nothing from you. And why guys are bothered by that is beyond me. You need to be grateful when women dismiss you right now, because at least you know you're not going to be used by that particular woman. At least you know that woman is not out to deceive you. Okay, what you need to have your mind focused on is the women who are giving you attention, who act like they're interested while attempting to withhold sex. Those are the women you need to be watching out for. The women who rejected you right away, thank God for those, right? Now, here is the second reason a woman may withhold sex that has nothing to do with virtue. She feels unappreciated or taken for granted. She feels she feels unappreciated or taken for granted. Now, some women who claim that they're practicing abstinence, that might be one of the reasons why they are practicing abstinence, assuming that they're really being honest about it. Okay, let me just say this about women who claim that they're practicing abstinence. Don't believe none of them. Okay, it doesn't mean that they're lying to you. Why would you believe them? Like, they're strangers. These women are strangers. They're random chicks. You don't owe it to them to believe what they tell you. I don't owe it to you to believe that you're really virtuous. I don't believe that you are anyway, but I don't owe it to you to believe it, right? Now, again, women who are actually really practicing abstinence, that might be one of the reasons where they feel unappreciated and they feel taken for granted, right? When it comes to sex. So their thing is, I'm going to stop allowing these men to use me, and I'm going to make these men show me how serious they are before I fuck them, right? But even then, those women, the way that they go about it, they don't know what they're doing, right? They think, oh, I'm just going to withhold sex, and that's going to automatically make their dating life better. No, it won't. No, it won't. And the reason why is because the reason why they're withholding sex, or the reason why they are attempting to withhold sex, right? They don't understand that the reason why they had negative dating experiences was more about them than the men. And because they think it's the men, they falsely assume if I withhold sex or if I start practicing abstinence, everything will work out. No, baby girl. Yeah, you ain't got no game, and that's why you're going about it. To me, that's why you're going about it that way, right? Now, number 3, discomfort with your approach to intimacy. Again, women are in a state of discomfort because the way that you approach them when it comes to intimacy. Now, that has everything to do with you, right? That has everything to do with you. The other reasons why a woman may withhold sex has nothing to do with you. However, if a woman feels discomfort with your approach to intimacy or how you are broaching the topic of sex, right, that has everything to do with you in many cases, exceptions aside. That has everything to do with you. Okay. Number 4, feeling sexually unsexy or undesirable. Like, this is what I mean by that. A woman may feel unsexy, right? She may feel undesirable. She might not feel good about herself. So let's say she went through a recent breakup or divorce, and maybe the guy said some shit to her like, nobody's gonna want you, look at you, you've gained weight. And let's say there's really nothing wrong with her. Like there's nothing wrong with her visually at all. But because the guy said, you know, hurtful things to her, and because she's at a low point in her life, she's more susceptible to believe it. She's more susceptible to internalize these things that are being said about her. Like nobody's gonna want you, look at you, right? So her friends may be like, girl, fuck that nigga, man. Come out, let's get out. Girl, you're beautiful. These men are gonna fawn all over you, blah, 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 blah. So she might go out with her girls, and she's not really going out because she believes it. She's just going out because her girls are telling her to on some peer pressure type shit. So she goes out, you're trying to hit on her, but she's like, why me? Like, why are you interested in me? And the reason why a woman may ask that is because she's really seeking validation. She feels sexually undesirable. She feels sexually unsexy. She doesn't feel pretty. So she doesn't believe you. She doesn't believe that you genuinely want her. In her mind, like, you're not telling me I'm pretty because you think I'm pretty. You're telling me I'm pretty because you just want to fuck me. But you don't really think I'm pretty. You just want to fuck me. So because of that, she may withhold sex because she's in her own head, right? Now, let me just say this real quick. I want guys to understand this. Okay, let me throw this up there, right? And I'm about to be out. Oh, real quick, y'all. Real Game No Theory, 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, noon Eastern. Real Game No Theory. Come through and fuck with us. Let me throw this up there real quick. Okay, because I talked about agendas. If a woman has an agenda, right? Sex is either secondary or it doesn't factor into the equation at all. Again, is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? When a woman withholds sex from you, or she attempts to withhold sex from you, all she is telling you is, my primary motivation to deal with you isn't because I'm sexually attracted to you. Let me say that shit again. When a woman has an agenda, right, and she's withholding sex, right, or she's attempting to, what she's telling you with that action is, my primary motivation to deal with you isn't sexual, right? It doesn't mean that sex won't factor into her agenda. It just means she has something else that she wants to accomplish that has nothing to do with sex. She has an agenda. Sex is either secondary, meaning the non-sexual attention she wants from you is primary. She needs that first, and then she might give you sex on the back end after, maybe, right? Or sex doesn't factor into the equation at all. See, when sex does not factor into the equation at all, women will give you the misleading impression that sex is possible. Now, here's the thing though. Here's the thing, I need guys to understand this. In order for a woman to effectively pull that off, where she can get you to fuck with her for an extended period of time without sex, where sex is not in the equation, where she's not fucking you, she needs for you to really believe that she has virtuous tendencies. She needs for you to believe that. So if a woman tells you, oh, I'm practicing abstinence, she needs for you to believe that she's at a higher level of consciousness now, that she's taken this spiritual journey to healing, and that any man who enters her body, that it has to be a special, profound connection. If she can get you to believe that, she can sell you on the idea of dating her where sex isn't happening. I need you guys to understand the whole sell, because not only is she going to attempt to withhold sex, but she's going to talk to you in such a way where you believe that her withholding sex is virtuous, that it is from a genuine place, and that she does view sex somehow in this special regard, and that you having sex with her is special and that is meaningful. And that if you just wait, it will be great. It will be grand. It will be worth it. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? Guys, again, never adopt a woman's views on sex. If a woman is withholding sex because she is virtuous, what that got to do with you? In closing, I told you guys a story, right? When I was in high school, teenager, I met this chick. She told me she was a virgin. This is when I very first met her. I told her to her face that if she fucking with me, she gonna lose that. 2 weeks later, okay, now I met this chick, right? Again, the first time I met her, I was introduced to her. We start talking about sex right away. She told me she was a virgin. We talked about having sex. She basically wanted me to take her virginity. Very first conversation. And her being a virgin had nothing to do with virtue. And she admitted this. She said she was still a virgin simply because of how she was raised, but it had nothing to do with her personal views of sex. Like she's just trying to, I guess, I don't know, adhere to her parents' wishes. But what ended up happening was she encountered a man who she was sexually attracted to, who basically told her, if you fucking with me, you're losing that. 2 weeks later, with no dates, only one phone call, maybe two, short phone calls where sex was being set up, no dates. 2 weeks later, I had her at my boy's crib. Okay, I don't need to say anymore, right? So don't get fooled that just because a woman is sexually inexperienced, or even if she's a virgin, many times it has nothing to do with virtue, right? Never adopt a woman's views on sex. Is withholding sex really about virtue or manipulation? It really doesn't matter what it's about. What matters is if you are a sexual man and you're mainly motivated to deal with that woman because you want to have sex with that woman, why are you dealing with that woman if she's trying to withhold it? That's it. That's all. I'm out. Peace.